evening, all, and welcome to the Pelikan Podcast. I'm joined tonight by Adrian. Unfortunately, we have no Scott because he's probably lying in the pub drunk by now.
Hopefully not.
Somewhere. Hopefully not, but still early. But as you can see, podcast number 42, and I'm actually buzzing for this week because I've known these two young gentlemen for quite a while now. And followed the journey all the way through, and what a journey it's been. And all I can say for them is the only way's up, you know. The boys are committed to what they do, and really good at what they do. You know, they make it a good duo. Wait, what about yourself, Adrian?
Aye, well, definitely. I mean, 42 weeks, that's ridiculous, isn't it? Well, when we started this, we probably thought we'd maybe do, about 3 months worth, not really coming up a year worth. So, it's madness. But Cora and Lyle, obviously when Ranzas kind of took their wee break, took their wee split last year, we knew that wasn't the end of these two, definitely not. So it's good to see that they've come out the other end, again, doing what they've been doing right the way through the last couple of years, just getting better and better.
Mm-hmm. So, let's get them on. Let's not waste any time tonight since Scott's not here. So, Lyle. Evening, Lyle.
Right. How's it going, boys?
Evening, Connor.
Good. All right, boys.
Aye, good. So, Club Royale, let's talk about this first, even before we go even further back. So, how did this all appear? And by the way, must admit, Rise Up, what a song, by the way. Brilliant. Brilliant.
Right, go, Connor, or you?
What was the question, sorry?
So, Club Royale, how did that come about, and what was the kind of the spark behind that?
You can't separate me and Lyle. Do you mean we're lovers?
We know that. Don't tell Sean that.
It's a love and hate relationship.
Bottom post.
No, it was. I think kind of after the decision to kind of the hiatus with Ranzas, it was me and Connor did say that we would write with each other, continue, and if it doesn't come to anything, then it doesn't come to anything. But we started kind of making, would you say, a wee portfolio of tunes.
And writing and stuff, and
so we didn't go like a hiatus from Ranzas and then go right, we're going to make this like Club Royale, or just kind of stem from jamming and writing.
Mm-hmm. So was this something that I've been working on a long time then? Is this kind of portfolio yourselves, or is
no, not at all.
No, the last 6 months, maybe
5-6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So here's a big question: is the Ranzas just a hiatus, or is it coming back?
Pass.
TV. TV continued.
TV continued. Aye. No.
We'll see how successful this is.
Aye.
If that's something we'll go back to it.
Aye. Oh well, we've got some comments coming. Trust the old boy to be in first. I'm afraid that. Sorry, can't wait long. I'm working in the morning early, but great to see you all again.
Yes, sir, man.
From the old boy. No, I mean, obviously it was exciting times with the Ranzas. How do you see the rest of it going then? Because I mean, for me, it's a lot different to what the Ranzas were.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's got that 80s electronic sound about it. It sounds phenomenal. You know, is this going to be a continuing theme with what you're doing with Club Royale? Or
aye, it's basically it's like
I'm going to keep going the same route really, and keep writing the same kind of song. It was all about experimentation and just trying something a wee bit different to just playing generic indie guitar music. And
I remember Cora was saying that we wrote a few tunes that won't feature on like our LCR stuff, but we were like, oh, we'll make a punk band. And then it was like, oh, we'll do this, we'll do that. And then kind of listening to New Order and stuff, and like Connor's heavily influenced for that. And listening to like up and coming bands. What was the band for Glasgow you were really into? It was
Medicine Men.
Yeah, Lucia and the Best Boys and stuff.
All right.
And, just listening to different. I mean, we made a playlist in that, and just flinging mad sounds into it, and going right. We'll kind of try and recreate that, or we'll add that into stuff, and then this is where LCRs just became this kind of big music project for us.
I mean, even at that, I remember last year, like when you announced that the Ranzas were stopping. I mean, all of us was just like, "Oh my god, what's happening?" Because obviously, you were on the up. I mean, you had the tour, you were getting played in various different places, but obviously with lockdown, everything else, coronavirus, I think a lot of bands in particular have took a wee step back. There's no change, but certainly with this project, it sounds like it's going to be following in the same footpaths. I think it's just going to get bigger and bigger and better. And obviously, hopefully, once this year when things open up, we can all get back out gigging as well.
That's what we're all missing is the gigs, isn't it? It's just
I can't wait to get gigging. Go to a gig. Just.
Well,
I mean, you're talking.
Sorry.
You're talking about the playlist as well. Oh, what about this album, like the Arctic Monkeys album? Is this one that was on that playlist, like when you were kind of getting together, listening to songs, or was it a bit more out there?
It was some of the stuff was a bit more out there, but I mean, we made a song called "Sweet Honey Treasure." I've put it up on Twitter and stuff like that, and YouTube, because we weren't sure what we were going to do with it, but we've got an idea now. But that was like heavily influenced by like kind of that Crying Lightning kind of Arctic Monkeys sound with the guitar and just the vocals and stuff, and the lyrics as well. I don't even know what it means with the lyrics, but just wrote it. That was so there's like influence, but going for that to then going to New Order sounds, it's like kind of everything's there. Yeah, anything goes really. You know what I mean? So
no, it's brilliant. There you go. You get your first fan on the night, Lyle.
We're sitting there with a can of Strongbow.
Is that the typical Friday night? Is it?
Aye.
Well, I mean, sip my beer, you know, can't beat it. It's great. We'll dive into a lot of more things later on as well and what's happening, but I think we'll start off with the Pelikan.
Just to fight all the lies and your dreams and madness rolling through the brain. Well, you can't understand when I'm trying to kill you. Can't understand when I'm trying to kill you. Dancing around in circles, only trying to explain.
So each week we all pick a track each. By the way, forgot to say we're meant to have Bob on tonight. So
that's what I was going to say when I seen that. Aye.
He has been caught up in Glasgow and he'll not be back down in time.
No worries.
So he's not going to make it. I forgot about
But he was at the pub as well.
I think he's been at it.
Sounds like it.
Bob doesn't drink, does he?
Don't know.
No, I don't think so. I don't think Bob drinks. But every week we get Pelikan 4. So we all pick a track each that we've maybe listened to during the week and just try and promote it. So what I'll do is I'm going to start off with yourself, Lyle. What's the track and why did you pick this one?
It was a Dictator from West Lothian. We've started listening. There was a band that when we were the Shires, we kind of supported at People and stuff, and I think is it the bass player, Connor?
Aye, bass player Zach.
Now, Zach is now in this band Dictator, and we've kind of kept in touch over the years, and these boys they're amazing, and they've got the vocals and the sound is just like brilliant. It's unbelievable. So it's Moonlight. It's very slow, but it's amazing.
Aye, I mean, did the just listen? I mean, this is the first time I've obviously heard them and listened to it, and it was tonight because I think I only got it tonight. But brilliant from what I could hear. Adrian, what do you think? Did you have a quick listen or?
I've not listened to it yet. No, I've had a manic day, and obviously, as you said, it's came in at night, so this will be fresh for my ears too.
So this is Dictator and Moonlight.
feel too good to be true. I'll be the stars. You'll be the moon. Ooh, let me fall in love with you. Ooh, let's feel too good to be true. I'll be the stars. You'll be.
Well, what did you think of that, lads?
It's
Yeah.
aye, the vocals are just fantastic, and just the sound of these boys, it's unbelievable. For West Lothian as well, which has got an absolute cracking music scene. Obviously, the kind of pals with like Luke LaVolpe and Lewis Capaldi as well. I think they're all coming up for there, and the Snuts as well. So it's like that scene up there has got this blew up. So it's unbelievable.
I thought it could be the West Lothian Post Malone with those,
Aye.
double track vocals getting on there, the overlays.
Love the video. The video suits the song really well as well, and they've done really well on that. I'd like to know who the figure skate is. We might know them. Aye. But my dad's back on. He's saying, "Did you see the live set from Liverpool? Looks awesome." I think he must be talking either about the Arctic Monkeys or something else. I'm not sure. Anyway,
I'm not sure.
I know, Connor, you've got a fan at last. There you go, mate.
Oh,
Big Sarri.
Aye. See, I keep on forgetting you're a big Hibs fan.
Aye.
Aye, but my old papa, God rest his soul, was a massive Hibs fan. So he was.
What happened, Andy?
Aye, I know. I followed the United. I followed the mighty Air and Liverpool, and that's about it. But Connor, we'll come to you, mate.
I chose Neon Waltz Strung Up, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Aye, you should know it. You chose it.
What a band, by the way.
Irish today.
Aye, well, I mean, what?
They were my Pelikan for 1 week as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I mean, you played with these guys, or you
played with them a few times. We played Furies, live at Troon, and Bakers and Kelly as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I was blown away with them. They've got a massive sound for 5. I know where, do you know what I mean? It's like it's so relatable because they stay up like the coast up north. There's nothing surrounding them. So all they do is just sit and make noise.
Make noise.
And the noise is amazing. But the latest singles seem to be getting better and better. So I think they'll hopefully maybe get an album. I see them in the studio just now, so we've got another album in the way. But I 100% recommend.
Oh, we've got Jim Reid on as well. Hello, lads. And then let's say first live gig tonight in Liverpool. Oh, there must be something.
Oh, aye.
All right, aye.
Is that with Blossoms in that? No, or is that another gig?
No, I think it might be actually. I think you might be right.
Blossoms in the Lathams or something. No,
it could be. Right. So this is Neon Waltz and Strung Up. Is that right?
I think that's the one I chose.
Right.
Now I'm stuck in the crowded room. It's been reanimated. I thought I wouldn't be back so soon. And if I'm unordinary, I'll make my bed. You'll find me in solitary within my.
That's brilliant.
Tune.
Aye, definitely. Definitely. I mean, they get Neil and Walsh. It seems to be that they've been around for forever. Like, and I think, you know, that they are still tipped to be the next big thing. I think, you know, and they've been. I think they've done like BBC introducing and all that as well, haven't they?
On a tour, I'm sure.
They've done the graft, so they have.
Aye, the boys have put in the hard miles, and hopefully pretty soon, you know, and even judging by that sound, you know, pretty soon that these guys will go far, you know. I think they deserve it. Aye, I mean, they deserve it, you know. Who we got? Adrian.
This week I've chose M Woods, who's a singer-songwriter from Glasgow. I don't think she's released much known recently, but certainly, you know, from 2017, 2018, 2019, she was releasing quite a lot of music, and again, she's just not really had it big, but great vocals. You know, she's got such a rasp through in her voice that hopefully you'll hear in this clip. But that's it, M Woods and the song's "It's My Party."
This is brilliant.
Good, isn't it?
Got this feeling down inside. I've been scared to let it out.
That's brilliant.
That's it.
Good chorus.
I mean, we were talking, and we've been talking about this for a while, but like me, Scott, and Adrian, how the Scottish female songwriters are massive at the moment. You know, singers. It seems to be that there's loads of them out there, but
name 5.
Absolutely. Robin, Ashcroft, that one. No, but you know what I mean. No, but every week there's been a different female artist featured.
That's true.
Do you know what I mean? And they're all been phenomenal. And it just seems to be there's a big talent pool of female artists at the moment within the Scottish scene. And I'm no different. I've picked the girl who cried wolf, who's a good friend of the show, Audrey Tate, and Lauren, who run Nova South Studios. This is their project, but Audrey's super talented. Probably a better drummer than Adrian as well.
Really? Tremendous.
Absolutely tremendous drummer. We were actually talking about her the other night there. Well, it's just phenomenal. Some of the clips she puts up, you know, doing her stuff.
Thousands and thousands of hits on YouTube as well for her various. So if you haven't checked her out, definitely check her out because she's talented.
And Lauren's voice again, it just well, it was do you remember Hector Berserk? She was a drummer for Hector Berserk. So she was.
They played at West Ham in one point, did they not?
They played a few. I think they played that spoken words thing at the Burns house as well. So they played out there as well. But this is Out of It by the girl who cried wolf.
Can anybody hear me? Hear me? Anybody, who? Can anybody hear me? Hear me? And come to my rescue. Can anybody hear me? Hear me? And come to my rescue. Can anybody hear me? Anybody but you. This is my main, get out of it. This is my space, don't touch this mouth, this main, get your words. Step back, don't speak, don't judge. This is my main, get don't call, don't knock, don't buzz. My world makes sense now that you're there's still me, still you, just not us. This is my main, get this is my space, don't touch this your words. Step back, don't speak, don't judge. This is my main get. Don't call, don't knock, don't buzz. My world makes sense now that you're. There's still me, still you, just not us. This is my main get. Out of it. This is my space, don't touch this mouth. This mine, get your words. Step back, don't speak, don't judge.
Going to the flow of that there, man. That was good.
Aye, awfully good, and you should check out more of their stuff because it's phenomenal and
Scottish streets, Scottish streets.
But it's going from the singing to the rapping. That's a talent right there. The singing.
Change, yeah.
Aye.
She's got a phenomenal voice, and to just change like that, it's just like it's a completely different style, altogether, and it goes so well together. And they're two talented people, and I've got that Nova Sound Studios as well, and they do some great work up there. But aye,
where's that? Is that up in Glasgow? Is it?
Aye, it is. Aye, Glasgow. Aye. But I can't remember the exact. That's terrible. I should know that. But no, phenomenal. They're doing some great stuff, and I think they're just only going to get bigger as well. They've certainly got like a sound that you don't hear every day, especially in the Scottish scene. And there's another like Becky we had on last week has got a very similar sound as well. Becky Wallace. I don't know if you know her now.
No.
Phenomenal. The dog's just opening the doors again. I know, but phenomenal. A couple of artists very similar as well, and I think they both do really well. But no, I'm looking forward to it. So let's get to the main topic of the night. Let's get into this album. So why Humbug?
It's the only album me and Lyle could both agree on.
Is that the honest truth, or was it?
No, that's the honest truth. See, try to get blood out of steam in the corner.
We like a lot of the same music, but I think Humbug's like a kind of mutual one we both like for our own reasons, I think.
I mean, is it, as Adrian touched on, is it something that you'd find that influenced your music? So not just what Club Royale but from the Box of Trash all the way through to the Ranzas, is that something that's been an influence on you? Has Arctic Monkey's been a big part of that?
Aye, definitely.
I more kind of lyrics and stuff like that for me with like Alex Turner and these kind of mannerisms and stuff, and we just the guitar sound and that. We wrote a song called Sinner, and that was pretty kind of Arctic Monk. Well, I was trying to put a wee kind of Scottish accent onto it and stuff, but I certainly influenced. And when Ranzas, I think it was 2 years ago, we kind of Connor was we weren't really doing like Arctic Monkeys covers. We kind of steered away from that, but then Crying Lightning, that was unreal. Just to kind of have that time to go. Aye, we're going to record this. We're going to actually learn it for a live set. When I think 4 years previous, we kind of never touched on Arctic Monkeys.
Never really wanted to cover stuff we were influenced by. We'd always try and cover stuff that we could try and change up a wee bit. But I think Crying Lightning and Humbug's definitely an album that's influenced kind of like musically. It's kind of like the way I write music, especially when I was kind of like the early Ranzas stuff, because it's something we were all kind of into.
Aye, definitely. I mean, I think you can hear that obviously, Lyle, in your voice as well. That you've got a very similar singing style to Alex Turner, and it's a great thing. But I've seen you like from the beginning, where trying to set up sound for you used to be a nightmare. It used to be this low voice. It was very quiet. It was very, brilliant voice, but just sing, Lyle. Just sing.
Let it out.
The more you've been doing it, and the older you're getting, you just get stronger and stronger and stronger. And
thank you, man.
Obviously, you've got Connor as the brains, I believe, behind everything.
Can't compliment the singer too much.
Right.
Head only fit in that window anymore.
I'm trying not to. So I've got a night off tonight. I've kind of took a back seat and not really done much research in this and left it to Adrian tonight. So this will be kind of weird. So hopefully he's got something for me. So
a little bit. I get pulled in last minute this week too, so that's it. So been all over the place, but
so
I've got some things.
We'll come to Adrian, give us a wee bit about it and what's been happening.
So Arctic Monkeys, Humbug, as Andy would start. This is week number 42 of the Pelikan Podcast. Obviously, we've done an Arctic Monkeys album before. Whatever people say, I am that, what I am not, which was released in 2006. So we did that before, and that scored quite highly. So it'll be interesting to see how this album does tonight. But Humbug's the third studio album from obviously the Arctic Monkeys, which was released in August 2009. As I said, it followed on from Whatever People Say I Am Not, the one with a really long title, and just about every song on that track as well was really long. And Favourite Worst Nightmare, which was released in 2007. Like both of the other albums, it did reach number 1 in the UK charts. So, with Arctic Monkeys, we released 3 albums and all of them reached number 1, so they're doing not too bad for themselves. In Humbug, there was 3 singles that released from it, with the most well-known one, the one that the boys were just talking about, so Crying Lightning, which was released a month earlier, so it was released in July, and that hit number 12 in the singles charts, so things were looking all right before the album was launched. The other 2 singles that were released were Cornerstone and My Propeller, which reached 94 and 90 in the singles chart, so not as popular as Crying Lightning, but again, so we'll see in the album, still a really good couple of songs. 7 out of the 10 tracks were actually produced by the Queens of the Stone Age frontman Josh Homme. And again, these tracks were recorded in Los Angeles and, believe it or not, out in the desert, the Mojave Desert near California, which again, you can kind of almost get that sound from it. I mean, a lot of people say that, this album is a bit different from the last 2 albums that they'd done. It's got more of that sort of desert, soft, melodic guitar tones that we'll hear throughout the full album. And I think, a lot of that is down to it being produced by Josh Homme. He even joined the band for a gig out in California, so that would have been a good gig to go to and probably a bit of a surprise for the crowd turning up and seeing the Queens of the Stone Age frontman joining them. Other tracks in the album were produced by James Ford, who also helped produce Alex Turner's side project, The Last Shadow Puppets. So you can hear some of them influences as well, kicking in from those tracks. Turner cited many influences on the album, such as Jimi Hendrix, the Beatles, Nick Cave, and Cream. And again, you can hear that throughout the full album, that there's loads of these different influences that were maybe a little bit different to the usual sort of indie scene at the time. It did receive positive reviews from a lot of the critics, but again, they did say that it's Humbug wasn't much better than the last 2 albums, but what it did do is expand from the band and show them what they're really capable of, and also made everyone sort of curious as to where they might go next. Turner stated that the album name Humbug actually did come from the Sweets Humbugs, and he said in an interview that you've got to suck it and see. Then 2 years later, their 4th album, and it was called Suck It and See. So now you know where the album names came from, Humbug and album number 4. Turner also said that a lot of the songs were written in the middle of the night. So he said, he was struggling to sleep, so he would, get up in the middle of the night, jot some ideas down, then go back to sleep, and then the next day sort of go back and see what it was like. So a lot of the songs, were written, almost became about that time of the day when you weren't quite as alert as what you were during the day. And again, you can kind of hear that. So some of the songs do feel quite relaxed, quite open, and it was probably down to just how he had the ideas in his head. The album surprisingly didn't win any awards, unlike the last 2 albums, which won Best British Album of the Year at the Brit Awards in 2007 and 2008. So this one, maybe the band did feel a little bit of a change. They had, obviously it still reached number 1, but it didn't really win any awards. So it'd be interesting to see how they actually felt after releasing this album and how it was took by the critics. But again, overall, for me, I found the album was really good. And again, hopefully, I think it will score quite high in our top 10. But as I said, third studio album from Arctic Monkeys, Humbug.
Brilliant. Anything else to add to that, lads? He's went through quite a lot there.
That's about everything,
Exactly. You've covered most things there.
Oh.
No, I mean the biggest thing for me is I'm a big Queens of Stone Age fan. I think you can hear bits of that kind of Josh Homme style guitar playing throughout it. It's just synonymous with him. But no, I've enjoyed it this week. I've actually got the cover, the Crying Lightning. So I'll play that for that track once we come to it.
Thank you, man.
But let's kick off. Track number 1, Mr. Propeller.
Coax me out my room and have a spin of my propeller.
So I think we'll kick off with Lyle. We'll come to you first, mate.
I scored this 8, so I did. A good first song for opening the album. I would have made it like a kind of 9 or 10. It's an alright song for Arctic Monkeys. It's a good song, but it's no a Crying Lightning or anything like that. It doesn't stick in your head as much, so that's why I scored it an 8. But the lyrics in it are fantastic, so it's I've got a wee backstory in that. I was looking in to see what the song meaning was about, and I remember at school when the album came out and we were listening to My Propeller, and one of my pals came up to me, Kirsten. She's like, "Do you know what it's about?" And I was like, "No, I've no idea." And she's like, "It's about erectile dysfunction." I want to find that out. But reading the comments and that last night on like song meanings and stuff, it was kind of obviously like try to lift his mood, try to get someone to lift his mood to get him out of his slump and stuff like that. So it's kind of really interesting the way he kind of portrays that kind of story in it. So
I think you get that, with his voice in that and the lyrics within the song, that comes across, that he's in this wee bit of a pickle and trying to get out of it. But come to Connor next. What have you got?
I give this one a 10. It's one of my favourite songs in the album.
Straight in with a 10. First song, boom. There it is.
It's the one always I can remember. Like we always had it on at parties and stuff, and it was the kind of the song for the album that was kind of a bit better than the rest, maybe.
See, this is where
I've actually got a few 10s in this list, but I'll wait to reveal them as we go down.
You'll be disappointed with my scores, to be fair.
It might be the cause of the Club Royale splitting after this, I think.
Good to have a domestic in their hands here. When would you play that song at a party though? That's what I want to know.
But he's stayed in
7 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, he's stayed in
Everyone's trying to sleep.
He stayed in partner. They listen to all sorts of that. But
what would you recommend for a party, Lyle?
Well, to be honest, the 10 that I've got down here on this list, you wouldn't play at a party, but I've got reasons behind it. But we'll get to that one.
Oh dear, Adrian, what about yourself?
I agree with Connor probably. I think over Lyle on this one. I think it is, a song that does kind of stand out a little bit. I think just first track in the album, it starts great, and I think even overall in this album, I found it really hard to differentiate a lot of the songs. But I'm surprised that this didn't hit higher in the singles charts. I mean, only got to 94. No, I'd have thought this would have been at least in the top 40s at that time. But I mean, for me, I love when I think of Arctic Monkeys, I think backing vocals, big different drums, definitely. And again, this song it does both, and the drums are great throughout. There's a big lift after the second chorus, which again gives it that layer, gives it that more volume, and even with the big guitar hits. Again, throughout this full album, you'll get those big strums that kind of hang there, and I think that's again the Queens of the Stone Age influence coming through there from that. But for me, I gave it an 8.5 out of 10. Good start to the album.
Not bad. For me, it's not the most like you look at the Arctic Monkeys. I like the early Arctic Monkeys. There's no doubt about it. This was starting to come away from it. This track anyway was starting to come away from it. A bit darker, a wee bit moodier than what the original one was. Whereas what I was used to was the energy that they had. And Adrian, you kind of nailed a point about this album there that gripes me with this album. There's a lot of stuff in this album that sounds the same. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that it's hard. You said it's hard to differentiate. Well, for me, this album, there's a couple of the tracks on it were hard to differentiate from each other. There is some cracking tracks on this, and the tracks that necessarily look, there is some tracks here. It's weird, and just looking down the scores and everybody's scores here, that people are marking it higher and and lower, but I don't know what it is. But there's great. These vocals are great. His lyrics are great, and it's a good start to an album. But I gave it a 7. It's still a strong track, but it's not. I just don't. I think it's just lacking that bit of edge on it. So, Mr. Propeller, for that.
Funny going back with what when he's saying about erectile dysfunction. You're thinking my propeller. Surely if he's got erectile dysfunction, it's a good spin on that, I think.
So between the 40s, the Pelikan Podcast marked at 8.37.
Good score still, definitely.
It's a cracking score to start with. I have a wee confession to make as well, by the way. See tonight at the end, I'll give the overall score, but I can't give you a chart position because we don't have the full chart for some reason. I don't know what's happening. So I don't have the full chart scores, but I can give you the overall score and we'll put it in and we'll find out where it goes.
Where it ranks.
The suspense.
I think, looking at the score, it's high. I'm guessing it's going to be in the top 10 anyway. It's going to be pretty high. But we highlight I've been looking forward to. So I'm going to play Crying Lightning, and hopefully Facebook's not going to do an absolute hissy fit
copyright thing.
But this is actually the Ranzas doing Crying Lightning. All right, so I'm going to play this one in full because guys, you've done a great job of this. I might cut it short, but you've done a great job of it. So this is track number 2, Crying Lightning.
By the cracker factory, you're practicing a magic trick, and my thoughts got rude as you talked and chewed on the last of your pick and mix. Said you're mistaken if you're thinking I haven't been cold before, as you bit into your strawberry lace, and then flipped your attention in the form of a gobstopper. It's all you had left, but it was going to waste. Your pastime consisted of the strange, twisted and deranged, and I love that little game you had called Crying Lightning, and how you like to aggravate the ice cream man on rainy afternoons. The next time that I cut my own reflection, it was on its way to meet you. bench like you think. Student buff till chest out like you never lost the war. And though I try so not to suffer the indignity of reaction, there were no cracks to grasp against the floor. And you're that time consistent of the change, twisted and deranged, and I hate that little game you had gone. Crying like this, and how you like to aggravate the icky man on rainy afternoons. Uninvited, but the happens impossible that everyone assumes you are. Crying like this.
Wow.
Tremendous. See, when you
God,
first started playing that, I thought you'd actually started playing the CD. I was actually typing, Andy, you played the fucking song, you idiot. But no, that's tremendous. That's so good.
God,
Thanks
did
very much, boys.
you put that together?
Aye, it was recorded. We recorded that live in a rehearsal room. So that's,
Right.
that's a live version as well.
Little Havana.
I mean, I'm just going to touch on this. You do a lot of the production stuff for all the
Everybody.
projects, aye, and not just you've got other stuff as well, I believe. Is that right? Aye, you do everything throughout the Ayrshire scene as such.
I have done a few bands here and there.
Done a few bands.
Some I want to talk about more than others, but I've,
Have you got stuff? Is there stuff ongoing at the moment, or is that all secretive?
no, nothing ongoing at the moment. Just working with LCR, but it's been a bit of a learning curve, like especially since I've been got back into like electronic production, like towards the end. Like I'm used to recording like drums, guitars, but now I need to try and look for synthesizers and all sorts of weird stuff in.
Bongo drums.
Bongos, yeah, we've been writing.
All right. But
I
Lyle,
think everything's moving that way, though, isn't it? So it's probably a good skill to learn.
Aye, like easy, like you can get so much
I'm
money.
an apprentice.
You only need a laptop, and that's you sorted. It's a horrible world we live in, but you got to make the most
Madness,
of it.
you're making it sound easy there, Connor. It's no just as easy as that. I know that, but I think he's just like no one to big his up and that, you know. But Connor, I'm going to come to you first since we started with Lyle. The last one, Crying Lightning, track number 2.
I scored this an 8, I think, just because I said I'd rate it higher if we didn't cover it. It's one of those ones, like I've listened to it so much, I've played it so much, and I don't want to sound like kind of narcissistic, but I do really like our version of it as well. It was a bit more stripped. And then it's a good song, but it's not. It's over listened for me. I've listened to it too much.
Don't worry, Andy gave Wonderwall 6 out of 10.
I hate it.
So you can give anything you like.
Wasn't even 6, Adrian. It was a 5,
No.
mate.
Oh,
I would agree with Andy. I would agree. Yeah.
I keep on saying this, and you know, like, I really shouldn't be taking a hang day, but the reason being, I've never liked the song when it was released. So even when it was released, I never liked the song. I don't know. I just thought it was just like it was there and it done well. Fair play to them, but it just wasn't for me, that one at all.
to be fair, Scott always brings up I never gave Eleanor Rigby a 10 out of 10, so that's my winner.
Mate, like that, like you should be hung for that.
Scott was fuming at that.
Beatles, man, if you're scoring it any less than a 9.5.
That's what I scored it, and he still wasn't happy.
Oh, was it? All right, well, I ain't less than a 10 then. Yeah, I've got to get it.
Lyle, come to you, mate.
I scored this a 9. Just purely, it's an absolute tune. It's one of them. I actually remember this album coming out in 2009 and going to see them at the SECC with all my pals, and it was unbelievable. And that song was played because obviously they were promoting the new album as well. So it was one of them that kind of stuck with me in this album. And just the flow, the vocals and the lyrics, it's just he's such a genius just with how the lyrics fit into these tunes and stuff, and I just think he's a mastermind at it, just writing and obviously what he does. So I gave that a 9.
Brilliant.
I love how you give all the credit to the singer for everything.
No winner.
Adrian, we'll come to you. Oh,
to be
sorry.
fair, to be fair, the songs were listed as written by Alex Turner, so that's fine.
Thank you. See, I've got the evidence to back me up now.
I agree with Connor, though. It should have been, like Hellers as well, because the drums throughout this track are just tremendous. I mean, drums and bass, like again, Arctic Monkeys, drums, bass, backing vocals, just fantastic. It's another song that does that. Again, there's a big lift in the second chorus that continues throughout the rest of the song, which just again works well. Just the extra layers getting added in. I mean, that guitar riff, the guitar melody throughout it is tremendous. You know, that the little picking bit with the echo or the tremolo.
That atmospheric sound, man. It's just at that breakdown.
And I think I know there's a lot more of this on this album than other Arctic Monkeys, definitely. Again, probably Queens of Stone Age, the influence coming through, because that's what a lot of their songs are like. But even in the verses, the first and the second verse, it's just the layers. So it starts off just the bass and the drums with the vocals, and then halfway through, the guitar starts coming in. So it's just that build, which I love. I think it's really good. So I mean, again, I couldn't really differentiate it too much from the first track, so I gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
I mean, for me, it's a great song. I love that that almost like fuzz face type. Sorry, I'm just going to take something off here because it is doing my head in. Once I can find it in the old
overlays,
the old branding. Aye, so it's doing my head in because I can't see everybody. There we go. How's that?
That's worse. I can see myself now.
I know. I might just put it onto the floor actually, so that we're all kind of spreading. That's better.
There we go.
So for me, the only downside with this is I think with this album, it's as if Alex Turner is starting to go away from the kind of Arctic Monkeys as such, because for me, the song and the structure of the song is brilliant. That fuzz, like almost that fuzz face on the bass, and that drives through along with the drums, and it's magic. It's classic Arctic Monkeys stuff. It's
a lot of. It's very experimental, this album. I think it's very kind of daring. He's kind of he's no kind of held back of what kind of direction what he's heading into.
You're right, but I still think that his voice. So, like in previous lifts on previous songs that he's done in earlier albums, his lift's been a lot, and he seems like there's been more like passion about it, where it doesn't seem to be as much passion he's put into this, and I don't know why, which is a shame because this could be.
I think it could be like a kind of Last Shadow Puppets influence. The way he's kind of went with that, with Miles Kane.
Right, so you think that's maybe a wee bit a darker kind of.
I feel
trying to get this kind of darker tone and this darker feel. Because
it depends when when I was reading up about the meanings of the songs, it was all really each song was really to do with it was Alexa Chung who was going with at the time, and they were getting a lot of stick for the kind of paparazzi because she was really famous and he was famous but not as famous as her and stuff, and they were pretty much getting her jap all the time. And I think kind of the relationship wise, them two, I think he was really kind of seen for the song meanings and stuff. He was really kind of struggling with the relationship with her, and obviously the relationship that she had with the paparazzi at the time. So it might be like a kind of darker I mean that. So
I mean, we've talked about this before because we have done Arctic Monkeys in the past, but you've got to remember these guys were still relatively young guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, these guys were 18-year-old when they first started. You know, like big and straight to this big massive thing, and then you'd be lucky about 21, 22-year-old. And they've got like Josh Homme producing for them. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like probably that time, like and roundabout, obviously with the Queens of the Stone Age being such a massive entity themselves, that this must have been like massive for them. So I can understand what he's trying to do, but I gave it an 8, which is still a good score because I think it deserves the credit, but. For me, Alex Turner, if he'd put in the passion that he'd put in with the first 2 albums into this song and his vocal, it would have been absolutely nailed. It would have been phenomenal. But in saying that, we still gave it the same again, 8.37. So another 8.37. So again, a massive score. First 2 songs, My Propeller, 8.37. Crying Light, 8.37. But it takes us nicely on to track number 3, which is Dangerous Animals.
The thoughts will soon revert to you. About as bashful as a tribal dance, the first and final chance, and course the audience are frighteners and fiends, divided up into 2 teams.
So, Dangerous Animals. We'll come to Lyle first since Connor was first the last time, so we'll just swap it about. Lyle, Dangerous Animals, mate.
I done this is 9.5. Purely, see, just fitting in Dangerous Animals and spelling it out and into the chorus. It's just it's amazing for me. So, 9.5 I put in this, and it's one of them that I just love singing all the way through. So it's one of them that I would need turn over, if you know what I mean, to go to the next track. It would always be one that I would keep on. So aye.
Right, so is this like one of these ones? It's just a go-to song, basically.
It was there's one of them you wouldn't say. Seeing that I put Crying Lightning 9, I would probably skip that to then go to Dangerous Animals. So that's why I put 9.5 because it's that it's the song for me on this album.
Considering Crying Lightning, the biggest song probably on this album, for the Arctic Monkeys for this one, that's quite interesting that you would say you skip the for me it was one of the best songs in the album to go to the next one, which is brilliant.
It was, but this is another song that, like My Propeller, we used to play at parties, and we used to sing the DANGOUSA and I'm here. Just amazing, man. I just love it.
Brilliant. We even get a wee performance as well. Connor, you next, mate.
I rated this one an 8. I feel like I've been a bit harsh on the rest of these. So I'm rating everything the same as what Andy is, and Andy doesn't like this album too much. So.
that, which is untrue, mate. Which is untrue. I just don't like it as much as the other ones.
But I really like this. I don't know. I like this track as well. I see the groove, the drums hold, and then it kind of speeds up. It's like double time. For it just follows the rhythm, the vocals, and then the rhythm song changes so much throughout it. But the bass and the drums just hold that groove, and then I really like the wee fast bits and stuff. I never really noticed about this, but I'm just kind of winging this one.
That's all right. But,
it's one of the better songs on the album as well, but there's still a few ones that are top tier. This one isn't top tier for me. Sorry, Lyle.
No, you're fine, mate. See, now you know how difficult it is to
I'll probably
For
start
me, Connor, the green stuff.
singing it in my log for so many times.
I know.
Is this something like you would sit and just when you've got like when you're just chilling out, like sitting, would you just put this album on in the background or something like that? Or because obviously you've got your wee secret room.
Little
Little
Havana.
Yeah, is that what we're calling it? Is it Little Havana?
That's right. Little Havana, aye.
Aye, we need to get an invite up there, Adrian.
Aye, certainly, man. Why not?
Right,
Josh,
well,
we normally do it.
aye. Adrian.
Dangerous Animal. Again, another song I couldn't really differentiate from the first two, so I scored at the same 8.5. Again, like Cora was saying, it's got that rhythm of the drums and the bass. Again, it's quite samey. I mean, the last track was the same. The verse was vocals, drum and bass. This track, no different, just vocals, drum and bass. The bass and the guitar do follow the same riff, so they follow the same melody, which works really well on this song, in actual fact. Just gives it that tone. There is almost a sort of relaxed playing in it, though. Again, looking back in some of the research, as I was talking about earlier on, when it was written, or when Alex was writing some of these songs in the middle of the night, one of the drum fills in particular is totally just out of time. I mean, it's just like, he was just hitting whatever and then getting it back in. But I mean, it sort of works well. It's kind of untidy, that relaxed feel. But again, outstanding, musicality throughout it. So for me, as I said, 8.5 out of 10. Good song, solid song. How about you, Andy?
I mean, I think that the one point you made there is that the differentiating, and I would have liked to hear something a wee bit more different again. If they're saying this is a wee bit more experimental, I do like it, and I do like the direction of this.
Do you feel it kind of from there, Andy? Do you feel as if, like, as you say, it was relaxed in the first two, kind of performance-wise, in the first two? Do you think he kind of picked it up?
I still think there's that darkness about his vocal. Do you know what I mean? Which is holding almost the same throughout. Instead of, like, when he was first doing, Bet You Look Good in the Dance Floor. Right? He's got that energy. And then when it comes to that chorus, he just goes absolutely wild. He had that massive energy about him.
It does kind of, the way you see him perform now, because usually, like, in the first two albums, when he was like performing the even Glastonbury and stuff, he wouldn't pick the mic up and walk about with it. Whereas I think this is an album that kind of is shaping him into what Tranquility Base Hotel and stuff like that, and EM, where he's becoming a performer and not just standing there with the guitar. So I think this is probably the album that's kind of moving him towards that direction. Performance.
And I still think that the lyrics and the songwriting and the musicality, as Adrian said, is phenomenal in this album. It's really good. And it's not because it's all big fancy licks and big into the pocket bass lines and all that. It's because it's simple. It's not like overproduced. It's not. It's true. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's something that we all Arctic Monkeys stuff, apart from maybe Tranquility Hotel. But let's not
like that.
Oh no, mate.
See, I do. There's a few songs on it. I think I could pick 3 songs out of that are tremendous, but I'm like Bat Phone and stuff like that. I kind of get quite into, but
I thought for me that was the point where that was the Alex Turner show.
Aye, well that's what I feel was if, like, because is it no it's Cornerstone where he's doing the performance in the video with then that's where I think because when you see his performances live, he's just holding the guitar and singing. There's no kind of crowd interaction. There's no kind of walking about, or rolling about the floor and stuff like that. When I seen him, this is where I think it's a whole Blast Shadow Puppets influence as well with performance and just picking up the mic and having somebody else play the guitar, and then he's walking about and doing all these mad moves and stuff. And I think this is the kind of birth of that performance for him.
That era for him. I mean, go back to AM as well. I thought AM was a tremendous album. I really enjoyed AM. But I just something just not grabbing me about it. But I gave it 7.5 because again, clever lyrics. His voice is good, but the problem for me is I think it lacks the energy. But the musicality,
I think that's it. It's probably like when you listen to the two previous albums, his vocal range was higher. I mean, Bet You Look Good on the Dance Floor, just San Francisco. You're going from like there to boom up there in the choruses, whereas these ones, vocal wise, are probably quite flat. I mean, they're probably only going from one note to about maybe a fifth or a sixth above, whereas the other ones, you're probably full octaves higher at points. So maybe that's what's kind of missing. But again, going back to, as he was saying, he wrote a lot of these at night. You're not as even he stated, you're not as alert. So it's that alertness, that kind of dreamy, surfer desert type feel that they were going for on this album. So
that kind of American feel when they make he watches a lot of. He's brilliant at like imagining himself in a film. I believe like as if he watches too many films, and he's just because it's very kind of when he's the acrobat fell off the beam. And he's got references of like circusy kind of thing in it. So you're wondering what he's influenced by there and what he's been watching, if he's up smoking whatever at night. And
I was just going to say that maybe he's not been watching anything. That's the problem. Connor, for you, and I'm gonna ask you because this is quite a direct thing. The production of this album. For you, what's the production like in this album?
I say it's all right for the time because it's quite like digital almost, but like the playing and stuff and like the sounds they add in, like it kind of works, but it does sound kind of clunky at times. Because there's like samples and stuff through Dangerous Animals that just seem a bit like dropped in. But like the dying productions came a long way, especially when you listen to their modern stuff. They've all spent a lot more money on it. I feel like maybe they spent all their budget on just getting Josh Homan and flying him to
LA. But again, a great score. 8.37 again. So the first three songs, My Propeller, 8.37. Crying Lightning, 8.37. Dangerous Animals, 8.37. Couldn't make it up, honestly.
Consistent.
Well, I actually had to do it 3 and 4 times just to make sure that my sums weren't wrong. You know what I mean? I'm like, there's something wrong with my calculator. Something wrong with my calculator here.
It's just all adding up to 8.37.
8.37. But we'll move on. Song number 4, Secret Door.
She swam out of the night's phantasm, grabbed my hand and made it very clear there's absolutely nothing for us here. It's a magnolia celebration to be.
So who did we go to first last time? It'll be Connor first, I think, this time. Right. Connor, Secret Door, mate.
I give this one an 8. I really like this one as well. It's kind of tempo changes and like the guitar work and it's I think much better. She's got the wee kind of lead bits and then there's the kind of spacey kind of harmony guitars. I do feel the kind of choruses drag a bit, so I never rated this one any higher than 8. But the chorus is really good, so kind of makes up for it.
The chorus is good, but as you said, I think there is parts that it's just a bit too repetitive. Parts of it, they just like
that kind of mid-album song. Do you know what I mean? It's just there because it needs to be.
I don't know if it needs to be. It's still a good song, But I'll come to Lyle. Lyle,
I scored this a 9. I just just his imagination in this song with the lyrics and stuff. It just reminded me of like what was it? Thingy Jones. What's that? With Harrison Ford in it.
Freddie Jones and Harrison Ford.
Aye. It's out my head now.
Star Wars.
What? No Star Wars. I need to Google this. I just read it in my head. And there's a bit in it which like Sean Connery was in it as well. And there's like the secret door swings behind us and the fireplace turns round. And it reminds me that he's probably sitting there watching that Indiana Jones and stuff like that, getting just wee bits of like films and stuff like that, and he's just putting wee segments into songs. I just think that's tremendous on that. But again, it following Dangerous Animals, I just think it kind of fits in with that. Next song, I wouldn't skip it.
No, it's a good tune. Adrian, I'm still intrigued. I'm still intrigued about this Freddie Jones and Harrison Ford film. Sorry.
Indiana Jones.
Sorry, Adrian.
I like Connor was saying, there's a tempo change, and it's probably a good time in the album to do it. You've got three, songs there. First three songs, good speed, and then track 4, just slow it down a little bit. But yeah, again, the intro's kind of soft and pleasant. The choruses follow the same pattern as the intro, that kind of dreamy type guitar feel, kind of swing feel to it as well. But again, I mean, as I said, the intro starts off slow and pleasant for about 15 seconds, then bam, you've got that drum fill straight into the chorus, bands back in, you've got great drum beats throughout using the toms, which is just, again, fantastic. There's a nice wee build in the second track, or a nice wee layer, which is just adding in a tambourine. I mean, that changes the whole sound of that verse just by adding in that tambourine over the top. So when you listen back next time, listen out for that, because it does change it completely. But for me, yeah, still a good song. Maybe not quite as good as the first three. One you can differentiate because the tempo has slowed. But as I said, not quite as good, but still good. So I gave it an 8 out of 10. How about you, Andy?
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. I mean, for me, it's just it's a small dip. I'm with Connor. It's one of the. It's probably a song that needs to be there. It has got some reason to be there. There is some cool wee things happening, like the tempo changes and things like that. But I just feel it's still quite. Again, it's still quite dark and quite. I'm like, I just want them to, break into something like, let's go for it here,
More energy.
Let's go. Let's be the old Alex Turner again,
See for what
he was only 21. But you have it.
I think what you like this album is, I think all the stuff I kind of like it for is all the stuff you don't like it for. They kind of changed up, and they weren't that kind of like
the same
guitar band. Everything else was kind of being the broke their own kind of thing.
I applaud them for changing, trying to change what they were doing all the time. They didn't want to be stuck in that rut, and they always had that ilk and have the same stuff all the time, which, let's be honest, was a winning formula for them for the first couple of albums.
Do you think they were trying to crack America, that they've went that different?
I don't know.
Like that was their aim to be that, to move towards that kind of.
I think obviously back then, even like 12 odd years ago, 15 years ago, if you made it in America, that was saying something. I mean, even in this album, in the top 200 billboards, it hit in the top 10. I'm sure it was about number 8 or 10, it was off the top of my head. From there, and again, if you're going over recording it out in America, I think that would probably was a goal, getting that influence from there. But let's not forget, it still hit number 1 in the UK, so it was still that's a very, very successful album for them from there. But I think it's it's good to change that, and yeah, definitely as a few other reviews I was reading about it said, they've kind of stepped away from their old selves and pushing, boundaries of themselves, pushing what they can do, and even, the genre that they were making is a bit different. So I think it's expanded out to, obviously a bigger audience, which works in some ways and doesn't for others. But certainly, like you were talking about AM, I was reading somewhere that said without this album they probably wouldn't been AM, just for the influences of coming off the both of them. There
was that, and I mean, you've got to give them. It's a bold move, for being so successful to try and change it up and have that thing. But again, as you said, it just seems like they'd been around for forever. Do you know what I mean? Whereas you've got to remember these boys are only 21, 22 at the time. And this is the third studio album they're getting into. Again,
even the songs off like Beneath the Boardwalk were tremendous. So they were. It's like what age were they? 17, 16, 17,
17. That was almost like a bootleg type thing, wasn't it? It was
so like the songs like Choo Choo and like Cigarette Smoker, and it's just like they had these songs that like even if I even wrote one of these songs, I would be proud as punch. But they've got such a portfolio of these songs, man. It's amazing.
Because I think they had a massive back catalogue of songs already sitting when they went into their first album. And it was frightening. And I can imagine the kind of things that they had to challenge to what songs they had to drop would have been pretty hard. But I still gave it a 7 because it's Arctic Monkeys at the end of the day. He's a talented guy. They're a talented band, and I don't think there is a really bad song in this album. And as I said before, we all know how hard it is to go into a studio and write songs, but what they're writing is just beyond songs almost sometimes, and I gave it a 7, so it's still up there. It's an 8.
Oh, close. Not quite an 8.37, but an 8.
Not quite an 8.37.
Oh, we've changed it up, boys. We've changed it up.
You know what I mean?
Half point on time, just so it's
yeah, sorry.
But just moving on then. So track number 5, is it Potions Approaching? Is that right?
Aye.
This one's interesting. I'm looking forward to hearing the scores on this.
It's time that plug me inside the reminder that yours is the only ocean that I want to swing
from. Yours is the only ocean. Right. Who's first this time? Lyle, innit?
I have the idea.
Lyle,
so.
Show me. It's all right, but I won't be gassing not remember it anyway in the morning. No, I'm only kidding. Done that before.
Up tomorrow. See, I put this as a 7. I just, I don't know, this is a really nice change up and stuff like that, but I just couldn't. It's still a good song, but I just couldn't kind of get into it as much as the others, so I stuck it. The 7's quite a good score for it, but it's no one that I'll be rushing to play.
It's bizarre because so I'm going to come to Connor next, right? Because he's
I scored this one quite low as well. So I gave this one a 6. I don't know. There's something about the song. There's just too much going on.
Aye.
Everyone's got his own rhythm, and I'm just like, I don't know what to listen to or where to pay attention. On a different day, I'd probably rate it differently. But the day I'm a wee bit hungover and there's just a wee bit too much on for me. I want a simple track to listen to.
Is that why you've got the Caribbean sitting beside you? Just taking a the edge off it?
I've got to drink the day, but I seen they managed to draw, so they've stayed up. So I thought I'd have a wee
celebration.
Air managed to draw.
Aye.
Aye, two each, I think.
Oh, that's good. Who was that against?
Inverness.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, there we go. Air got a point. Draw 2 each. There you go. But I'm going to come to Adrian now. Adrian, can you tell us a bit more about this song? Because for me, I've listened to this album before, and I don't know, but I've not actually researched this week. I actually took a break for researching this week, so it's been quite nice.
I didn't do any research on each individual track. All the research I did was just at the start. Just my week's been rammed as well, so that was a bit as best as I could conjure up in the short period of time I had. But I mean, like Cora was saying, it was. I mean, each bit has its basically plays its own rhythm. I mean, you've got stuff happening constantly. There's not like a riff that follows throughout. I mean, you've maybe got 2 bars and then it changes, 2 bars and it changes. But I mean, from that, I quite liked it as well. I liked all the little fills throughout it. There's a huge tempo change, halfway through that. And when the tempo completely changes and it slows right the way down, and then it goes back into the tempo it started with. So I think it was quite clever how they've managed to do that, because it doesn't sound too off, even though there is such a big difference in that tempo. It's quite experimental. Definitely trying to do that. Again, they're trying to push different boundaries. They're trying to push different sound, different ways of writing songs and whatnot. And has it worked? It's probably a bit like Marmite. Some people say, yeah, quite enjoy that. Other people say, no, I think it's too messy. But I mean, for me, I quite like it. I quite like that kind of raw messiness and just that experimental. So I gave an 8.5 out of 10.
Oh. Quite amazing that he's saying that. I agree with Adrian. So I'm all over that. Brilliant. I liked how they're kind of pushing their own boundaries a wee bit. Do you know what I mean? It is different. But the other thing is, almost goes from a kind of punkier sound to a kind of rockier sound, and then completely changes again and again and again. And I liked it for the fact was, let's do something a bit different here, lads. Let's change it up. Let's play with different, tempos. Let's, up and down and, different rhythms going over the top of each other. And it worked. I think it was a gamble paid off for them. And I gave it an 8. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed that track. So, I mean, for that,
looking at that tempo change, that's not something that a lot of bands do. I mean, even now, I'm trying to think of a song that has 2 different tempos within the same song like that. It doesn't really happen. I think because another thing, producers don't really like to do it, but at the same time, as I said, it's been quite clever and it's worked quite well.
So, Potion approaching 7.37.
Both.
It's not an 8.377 this time.
I
think Connor let us down in that one. I'm just going to take a couple of minutes here, guys. And I want to talk to you because the Ranzas, right? I think when you released the news and the Ranzas, there was a lot of people were I'm going to say upset, right? Because I thought, as the Ranzas, I thought it was going great guns, and then just after lockdown, it just came. It was just like, no, we're not doing it anymore. Well, I was quite. It was actually quite a sad moment, even though I knew that it wouldn't be the end of, obviously, for you to. I mean. Look at the Ranzas days. What was that like? Was it a great experience for you? Was it obviously there's a couple of changes throughout, but were they probably the I'm going to say, were they the good days as well for you? Was there loads of great memories from it, and what was the kind of highlight from that?
I think
it's a great.
I think every time we went into the studio and stuff, like great memories, just practicing. But the gigs, the tour that we done, sorry, my dog's eating his dinner behind me.
That's all right.
But it's just walking back for being, was it 2013 for the Shires to into Ranzas and stuff, and just the stuff that we were doing, and like we're kind of looking back at the days, and it's just like how much we kind of achieved and stuff like that. And the band, especially the bands that we played with in Bills, like the Snuts especially, and it's just like it's unreal. Just looking back, and I think, what's your highlight, Connor? What would you say was your highlights?
Definitely the tour.
Tour.
It's good to get and see some places. I mean, look, everywhere we played on the tour, I'd never been to before. Like, never been to Dundee, never been to Aberdeen. Don't want to go back to Aberdeen.
Very cold, man. Very cold.
We need to ask. No?
Doncaster.
It's just really cold. It's far too cold up there.
Where did you play in Liverpool?
Studio 2.
Studio 2.
Was it?
Park Street or Studio 2 it was called.
Yep.
But it's like kind of driving up, well, going away for like what you know, like the Ayrshire and Glasgow and stuff like that, and trying to kind of do the same at other places, and it was built confidence, built a lot of great memories as well from it, and gave you that kind of bug that we came back for that tour and we were already thinking about the next tour, and it was like that was the kind of standard that we wanted to set, is this is where we wanted to go with it. But unfortunately kind of lockdown happened. We spent a lot of days thinking about stuff, and unfortunately it came to what it came to. But 7 years I think we've been doing it, so that's quite a long time.
It's a long time.
Hang the guitar up and get the synthesizers out.
Just change the instrument for you back on. Is that what it is? You get bored of playing the guitar now. Let's play something else. So I want to play. I'm going to play a track. So I'm going to play the last track that was released by the Ranzas. I'm going to play the lockdown edition since it was released during that time. So this is Sunshine by the Ranzas.
Action.
Every day
think that's the most action my bed's seen in what? Oh, this year probably. You shut up. No.
I forgot about that, but
Connor doesn't know.
Do you want to know something? You know, I mean, that from now, I think that is the most played song on the Pelikan podcast, because I think it's been picked. I think we've played it. You've played it, and I think that it's been picked twice for the Pelikan 4, and obviously played there again. So it's probably one of the most played tracks on the Pelikan podcast. There's Jackie. They must be home now. He's got having a dance to this. I mean, what a way! Like, obviously, like that'll bring back kind of mixed feelings for yourselves, but to go out in that song must have been phenomenal.
it was. We actually played it. We played it in the tour, so we wrote the song
Just before we went.
just before we went on tour, and we challenged ourselves and said, we'll play this on tour and see how the crowd reacts and how people react to it, and then if it's kind of any good, we'll record it. And it's just one of them. It was like, I think it's the happiest tune we've ever written. As Ranzas or the Shires, because everything was kind of, I don't know, some of it was dark and moody. Getting that influence with the Humbug album as well, like kind of the meanings of songs and stuff like that. And I just think we challenged ourselves to write a catchy tune, but it needs to be uplifting and kind of and it was approaching summer as well, so it was like kind of might as well write about the sun. And
I never get my video in time for that one. But I mean, like, it is such a catchy tune, and I think it's an absolute like bagging tune. Like, for me, it's one of my favourites. You know what I mean? And it's a cracking tune, honestly. Like, fair play to these lads. And Connor, you know, admitting that's the most actually your bed scene in a long time.
I was expecting that bit to get cut out at the end. I wasn't expecting the final edit, and
no chance.
So, what's your memories of the song, Connor? Is that something that you always take away as one of the kind of highlight? Because that
song until about a few months ago, because obviously it was one of the ones I had to record. So like I get fed up hearing them, and it wasn't really a song that I was into or like I had much influence of, or like it never really kind of represented what the kind of music I was like listening to or was playing. And then the more I listen to it now, I'm like, that's a bit of a banger, you know. It's like,
you know,
what happens in it when you've not heard it for a while and you go back to it. But I think that was a summer anthem for a lot of people, though. I mean, even folk that would come in the podcast would talk about it, and even though we didn't play it, they were saying, "Oh, have you heard that song? It's really good. It's so good." From that, so definitely had a lot of people talking. So again, hopefully you two can continue and writing and producing, just buying songs like that.
I want you to come out with their summer banger this year.
Well, I think that
singles pretty summary.
It's just came back for mastering.
Oh,
in fact, Connor, how do you find it? Are you alright with it?
Sounds alright, aye.
Connor, how come you're no mastering it?
It's a dark art, Andy. It's a dark art.
You get programs to do it for you now. Come on.
It's not the same.
Right. No, but that honestly, great, guys, highlight for me. You know, great tune, uplifting. It just defines. I think that in the situation we were in at that time, when you released that, was just absolutely spot on. It brought a smile to a lot of folks' faces, and a lot of folk were talking about it. So, fair play to you guys.
It actually took us longer. We recorded it in October 2019.
Just before tour.
October, November 2019 then. and then we sat down and recorded, and we listened to the recording and scrapped it. I think in January we re-recorded it. So it took us like 3 months or something, 4 months to actually decide how it would sound and stuff. It was mental.
It's brilliant, honestly, guys. Like, hats off to yous. It's definitely an uplifter for a lot of people, and I think it, changed the mood of a lot of people as well. So we can do that. It's something powerful, guys. So you have definitely got it there. But enough of that. Let's move back on. All right. So that was halfway through the album. So a nice wee break for it. So we'll move on to song number 6, which is Fire and the Thud.
Now you're hiding in my suit, and this book reveals your face, and you're splashing in my eyelids as the concentration continually breaks. I did read.
So that was Fire and the Thud. We'll come to, I think it's Connor this time. So, Connor, you're first, mate.
I gave Fire and the Thud a 7. I just kind of like the melody and the groove it holds, and it's a bit more psychedelic, I think, to the rest of the album, and it's got more space and you can explore a bit more in it.
No, I get that. Definitely get that. I mean, do you think this is a kind of a wee lull in the album almost, or is it something different?
I think that's picking back up. We've had the middle, and I think this is coming to the
picking it back up.
Crescendo.
Oh, I like that, crescendo. There you go. He's getting into his music terminology now. And wait for the next ones. Wait for some staccatos.
That's all I know. That
That's all I know.
Lyle, come to you, mate.
I mean, I do like the track, and it's very kind of stripped back than what the other tracks were like. I gave it a 7. But it's I feel as if Posting's approaching and Fire and the Thud will just maybe throwaway tracks for me. Just have them in the album, kind of album fillers. So aye.
Oh, that's a harsh word, that, man. Album fillers, man. But I think, looking at the scores, 7's still a high scoring song for in an album, and I think they have got the rights in there to be that kind of that kind of score, because let's be honest, such a talented songwriter. Again, you just listen to the lyrics and listen to how they're put together. I mean, it's phenomenal. Adrian, come to you, mate.
It's a little bit slower song than some of them on the track. From there, it's got quite a long intro. So I wasn't too sure which way it was going to go. I thought, is it going to have that sort of slower intro, then bang, straight into a big song?
Any long intro or any long outro, it's a 5 for Adrian.
Any long song, just unless you can keep me engaged, then I'm bored of it. It wasn't. I gave it an 8. So I didn't quite liked it. But again, as I said, I wasn't sure which way it was going to go after the intro, but it did kind of stay slow and pleasant from there. I like the bass and the drums follow the same pattern. So if you listen to the kick drum, you listen to the strum and the bass, exactly the same. And I like that. I know the Red Hot Chili Peppers do that quite a lot as well. So that's something that I heard. Again, good layers with backing vocals. So each verse, each chorus just got more layers on those vocals, and again, backing vocals are just great. Those high pitch oohs and ahs, or the kind of chorusy type eerie sounds that you get from Helter's backing vocals are just great. I love them from that. So I think that was the reasons why I scored it an 8 for me. But still a good song.
I'm in the same lines with kind of Lyle and Connor. I gave it a 7. It takes a wee bit of a downturn, but I don't think it's a bad thing on the album. Having that wee song that bridges the gap to building back up, or the crescendo, as Connor likes to put it. And it's a good track. It's got a good wee flow to it. It's again very clever, songwriting. Very clever lyrics, and 7 for me. So that gives us on that one
8.37.
7.25. 7.25. So at the moment, as it stands, that is a least favourite song on the album. And I think it kind of... No, I'm not going to give much away, actually. I'm just looking at the scores there. But we'll move on to song number 7, which is Cornerstone.
And I elongated my lift home. Yeah, I let him go the long way round. I smelt your scent on the seatbelt and kept my shortcuts to myself.
No. So we'll come to Lyle first this time.
I gave Cornerstone a 9. It's, if you listen to the lyrics and the storytelling in it, it definitely goes back to typical the kind of old Alex Turner, because he's describing a night out, basically, and I think he's looking for the person that he's in love with, and he keeps so seeing her even though he's not. So he might be under the influence or something. He's searching for her. And just the lyrics are, again, top class lyrics, and it's the typical kind of old Alex Turner describing kind of nights out and stuff like that, with a wee twist in it, with the meaning and stuff like that is brilliant.
No, good, nice one. So that was 9 from Lyle. Connor, we'll come to you, mate.
I gave Cornerstone a 10.
Do you play this one at parties?
You love that song.
This is definitely
He sits in the house with the wee mic and
I don't know. I said about the lyrics. I never obviously looked into as much details as Mr. Kennedy. I like the kind of, there's lots of elements drop in and out and stuff, and it always holds your attention. The songs, I think start to finish, it's it grabs you, the story, the track, just the feel of it and everything. I think it's probably one of the better Arctic Monkeys songs ever released.
That's interesting. I mean, that's quite strong.
Big statement there.
You look at some of the tracks.
You love it, man. You absolutely love that song. It's I
love the guitar sound as well, and the piano bits that harmonise with it. It's just, I think that's where I stole a lot of my guitar from. Is probably this song.
That's good to know. Nothing. You can't say stole. You
influenced by.
Influenced by.
Make it stay.
Hold on, I've just had a message from our boss. He's just keeping an eye.
Mr. Pelikan himself.
I've come to you, Adrian.
Yeah, I think this song has a great flow from start to finish, to be honest. Like Connor was saying again, his notes and my notes or thinking's quite similar. I loved all the wee stops with the instruments. I mean, it just happened. Sometimes it was randomly. Sometimes, you've heard it a few times, you kind of expect it, and it didn't happen. So, just good and clever. Like you said, it keeps your attention. Simple drums compared to a lot of the other songs, the drum patterns, but again, it works so well on this song. I think what I've put in my notes, what stands out for me is just, Alex's vocals. There is a bit of a change in this song compared to a lot of the other songs. He's starting to do what he did in his first 2 albums. He's hanging on to the words a little bit longer rather than finishing them and changing the tone. Or just building that little build to it. So, which again makes this song stand out a little bit more than some of the other ones. Great guitar and great keys throughout it. I mean, they just complement each other so well. On this song, I think I probably a bit harsh. Actually, I only gave it an 8. But that's good. Saying that, giving a song an 8, it's been harsh, definitely. But yeah, for me, 8 out of 10. Another solid song on the album.
No.
Also, for the extra marks, does anyone know what the opposite of crescendo is? This is advanced higher music now.
Oh fuck, I'm away.
Descendo, close, like kind of. It does start with a D. Andy, do you know?
Can't remember now. Can that? It's terrible. I done higher music too.
Diminuendo.
Endo. That's what it is, aye.
Every day's a school day.
Diminuendo. Just think of a light. That's how I always thought of it. Think of it as a light, a dim light. You dimmer. So dim innuendo. There we go.
Now I know where it is in the chart. That's quite good.
So
I do have a final chart rating. Aye, there we go. I could actually show you this, but I'm not going to. Actually, hold on. Let's see if I could do it this way. Right. So I did get a message. Don't know if you can all see that. There it is. With chips and cheese, watching it in the big telly.
There we
go. It's good. I have to wait a minute because he's away for a fag. So he's probably not seen that coming up. What we'll do is I can cue it onto the main if I can get it up. No, for me, it's just I was expecting a lift after,
Andy, you're a bit jumpy in your internet. I think.
It's because I probably brought up another web page.
That's it. That hamster's going mild on this wheel.
Somebody's on Netflix.
I know. Somebody's getting banned. I was expecting after Fire on the Third to pick back up again. It's still a really clever song. As I keep saying, clever lyrics, and his voice. As he says, his voice has got a wee bit of difference in this. It's maybe going back a wee bit, but I still gave it I gave it a 7 because I still think it's a great song, and it's just hard to differentiate. I just wanted a wee bit more again. I want that pickup, and I don't think it's till after this song that I get that. You know what I mean?
Andy wants 2007, 2008 Arctic Monkeys. I think that's the problem.
A day.
Is that the highest score?
8.5, highest score so far.
Aye.
For Cornerstone.
Even with Andy 7.
Even with my 7, it's a good score. It's a great score. It's a high score on the album in general, and it's going well. But we'll move on to track number 8.
Takes a lot less time.
I love this track. I do. I actually like this track. I'm gonna come to who was first the last time?
The Corner, I think.
The Corner last time, I think. Corner, you mate.
I gave this one a 9. Simply just for the outro. It's got the best outro at any song ever. It's so simple, but it gives you so much power, and just kind of does everything like a kind of big build towards an end of a song needs. Because it's different for the rest of the song in its own right, but it still fits in.
I just thought of something there on the top of my head. I was just thinking about something about this song as well, but I'll come to it. Lyle, we'll come to you, mate.
That's I wish I could give it more than a 10. That's how kind of passionate I am about this song. it's the best song in this album. Purely the instruments, the intro, the drum beat and the lyrics as well. And I remember seeing this live when they played at the SACC. They opened up with it, and the curtains opened up and the stage moved forward, and it was just Alex Turner in a cloud of smoke and just playing this song as our opening song, and it's something I'll never forget. And it was amazing. So for me,
sure, covering this as well.
We done an acoustic. We started acoustic cover of this, but try to kind of, I don't think it go as far as what Crying Lightning done with a full band around it. Just pure, the meaning of the song, talking about a liar and how the dirt beneath the dirt, and it's amazing. The lyrics for Alex Turner, and again, it just shows you how good a songwriter he is, lyric wise as well. So it's just, to me, I wish I could get more than a 10.
Aye. I mean, Ian McKee, good friend of the podcast, and everything. Great album, Cornerstone is a timeless classic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing this is Scott because it's coming through as Pelikan Road,
Aye.
so this will be
11 then.
This will be Scott 11 then.
20.
Great tune. Outro's tremendous. Corner 8.5 for Scott. You know, if he was marking it. I wish Scott had actually sent me his scores because it would have been quite interesting to get Scott's take on it as well.
Yeah.
You know, but no, I'll come to you next, Adrian.
Again, this is my favourite song on the album too. Surprisingly, only reached number 94 in the UK charts from that. So very surprised at that. But I love the intro. That's just that build. It starts going right the way through to the outro is just tremendous. Just what can we say about the song? Just a great song. In my notes, I put drums and bass are the main focus in this, and the verses again similar to what they did and a lot of the other tracks. Great backing vocals. There's also good use of triplets in the drums, so we're getting some more music terms in there that continue that through. So again, it just gives it that change rather than using those standard root notes on 1, 2, 3, 4. Just adding in those triplets change the whole feel of the song from there. But again, just a phenomenal build start to finish. So great song, 9 out of 10.
It's got to be a 9.5 or something.
Scott's gave an album total score at a 7.47, which is pretty decent, by the way. That's not to be sniffed at. And by the way, Adrian, your wallpaper's tremendous.
It was here when I bought the house. I've just not changed it. That's it. It wasn't a choice.
Right. So it's just not that long ago. So this is relative to this track, but just the last couple of years, 3-4 years, I started listening to a band called Frank Turner and the Rattlesnakes. Tremendous band, brilliant. And in 2019, they released, for me, which was probably one of the albums of the year for me, was an album called End of Suffering. And it was a tremendous album. And there's a song, very first song on that album is a song called Why a Butterfly Can't Love a Spider. And it follows the exact same route as what the Cornerstone did. So it's quite funny. You know, it's as if this song has influenced them to write. It follows the same structure, same path. It's a wee bit quicker. I prefer Frank Carter's vocals. You know, if he was to do this track, you put his vocal in this track, it'd be tremendous. It'd be absolutely phenomenal. But it just kind of brought something back there that you know, it just shows you what was that an influence on them when they were writing that song. You know, and I gave it an 8. Really good song, solid, and I think that is our favourite song of the album so far. So that was a 9. Spot
A 9,
on.
good scoring.
Oh, sorry. I know it was 9.
See that if I've got a chance, boys, like Alexandra Saviour. Go and listen to her because Alex Turner produced some of her. One of her albums, wasn't it, Connor?
The latest album, the Archer.
And it kind of goes along the lines of Dance Like a Liar. Some of the tracks that she's got in there, and the lyrics on her album are brilliant as well. So
she's got a cracking voice as well. She does like a lot of like high falsetto stuff and
brilliant.
I think Scott's put the Eckies are making the stars move. and say tremendous one more time, I dare you. I think he thinks he's either Samuel Jackson tonight or something else here. You know, he's like, I think you've had too many. He's probably too many beers in the buff. It was quite funny to get him on. I wish he could just jump on the now. It's quite funny to see him. But you know, like
you'd get cancelled if you'd Scotland in a
you know, a 9, you know, on the album. Our favourite song on the album so far, Dance Like a Liar. Just shows you, down here he comes. he's just trolling us now. Track number 9, all right. Pretty Visitors.
All the pretty visitors came and waved their arms and cast the shadow of a snake bit on the wall. All the pretty visitors came and waved their arms and cast.
Lyle, we're coming to you first, mate.
9.5. But that's just it's really upbeat, the tempo and stuff like that. Really good lyrics, and the flow of the lyrics. He's almost kind of rapping at some points. The like kind of going with that, and really good sounds in it. It's a weird sound, but it's one of them that again that I know all the lyrics to, and I try and kind of do it as quick as I can without running out of breath.
I can imagine it'd be a hard song to sing along with, you know. But it's up there. Connor, come to you, mate.
I gave this one a 10. I think it's probably by far like one of the best tracks. There's so much energy and it's raw, and I think that's the kind of what you maybe missed. But in this album, the first two had. But the energy in it is amazing. See it, and this one live is top tier, next level. I've seen this live times, and it's.
I must have passed out that time when they played that in the CCC.
I remember this one at Tea in the Park, especially because like the strobes and stuff, and everything gets going, and like Helders when Leash comes off for Helders with this one.
Did they ever play it down at Finsbury Park when we went?
I don't remember Finsbury Park. That was.
One remembers one. One doesn't remember that. Brilliant.
That's fine, man.
So does that mean one's propping up the other one? By the that's all right, and just take turns every so often. Right?
Aye.
Sure, guys, mate. You can get gas tonight. I'll make sure.
I'll walk after you.
That's how they made it this far in life.
Can hear you singing this, Lyle. There you go. There you go. Scott's got it already in his head that he can hear your voice in that. And
But they're on out of breath, man. It's no so good.
Adrian, we'll come to you, mate.
I like what Lyle was saying. There's some good lyrics in this track. One in particular, "What comes first, the chicken or the dickhead?" That's a brilliant lyric to put in a song.
Belter a lyric, man.
But that's it. But no, it's a song that's a bit different from the rest of the album. It works from a minor key as well, so it gives it that eerie type feel. I even put in my notes that it could be like indie punk with a little hint of opera in it as well. I mean, some parts, it's really again musicality throughout the full songs. It's good. A song full of loads of different little changes and little things that are happening throughout. So it does keep you engaged and keeps you interested. But it all fits together well. So for me, a good solid song again. So I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Connor's got me all figured out. Definitely, for me, best song of the album. It's got that punk vibe. Like they were so like brought up on, and a stable. For me, this is my favourite song in the album. You've got Crying Lightning, which is a tremendous song, but I still think this has got more energy. He's got a wee bit more about his voice. It's as if he's enjoying this one more. Like he's enjoyed doing this song more than what he's enjoyed doing the rest of the songs. It's as if, because this is something new to them. It's as if like he's trying to relax into this, whereas this was more natural, I think, for him to do it.
It likes like can I see from the Ritz to the Rubble, like that fast lyrics. It's up there with that, like that.
Great tune. Absolutely tremendous tune. I gave it a 9. It's a 9 all day long for me. It's a great tune, and it's up there. It's best in the album for me.
Is that your highest scoring, Andy?
It's the highest score for me. Aye, definitely.
The biggest score now.
That's also our favourite track. That gives it 9.12. So that's our favourite. As going, that's the favourite, our favourite track of the album. But I think that says a lot, because I think it is more truer to what the Arctic Monkeys were and what they were, what we were used to before they released this. So I think that is quite a true reflection. But moving on.
See the chorus, all the pretty visitors came and waved their arms and cast a shadow of the snake bit on the wall. I think that was to do with the crowd and how crowd behaviour at his gigs and stuff like that. I think when I read up about it, that was what he was kind of trying to portray about them as well. So it was like kind of calling them the pretty visitors, but then like that kind of the snake pit on the wall kind of no saying anything bad about them, but just like that kind of description of them bring them down a wee bit. But
do you think that maybe means that everybody just want a piece of him, and that's what
that's his frustrations with like fame and stuff like
that. I can quite believe that, and there's bigger people than him spoke out about the frustrations of fame. You know what I mean? But I don't mean that in a bad way, because he is big. He's well respected in the industry and things. But there's been massive artists that have spoke out about that in the past and written songs about it. So there's no denying it. But clever lyrics. That line you said, Adrian, is probably one of my most favourite lines. But it's also probably like it's almost got that punk reference about it as well. Dickheads was a big kind of punk. That was a kind of punk shout. Oh, dickheads! That kind of which was good. I thought it was brilliant. 9 out of 10 for me. But our favourite song of the track as well. Or our favourite song of the album, sorry. Which is good. But leads us on. Song number 10, which is The Jeweller's Hand.
Fiendish wonder in the carnival's wake. Dull caresses once again irritate. Tread softly, stranger, move over toward the danger that you seek.
Come to... So who takes the last one? We'll be finishing Connor then, won't we? Yeah. Oh dear, Connor, take the stage, mate. Take the stage.
Jeweller's Hand. I gave this one a 6. Probably the same as Crying Lightning. Like on another day, it would have probably got a different score.
Hold on. Crying Lightning was an 8 though, so that's quite a good score.
Oh no, but if we didn't cover it, what was it? Poison Approach.
Right, okay.
It feels like a bit like a kind of bus balloon at the end because you're following Pretty Visitors. And
I agree.
I don't know if Lyle would maybe look into the lyrics a bit more to see if it flows in some sort of way, but for me, the song just it just doesn't fit at the end of an album. Like I would rather end on Pretty Visitors.
I would rather. I would agree with Connor. I would say that, but I've still gave it an 8. Just purely, it's still a good song, man. Some good sounds in there as well. But I know for me, I still enjoy it, so it's an 8 for me. But what would I put? I'm putting that in par with My Propeller. Can I change my score?
Oh man. No, I'm going to say no tonight. I'm going to say no. I mean, the thing is, you look at this and it's quite a funny one.
What would you change it to?
What would you change it to?
I'd put it down to a 7 because I wouldn't. I think it's on par with Potions Approaching and Fly on the Third because I don't think I think My Propeller's a better song.
Right. Okay. I know you could change it to a 7, but I'll need to obviously get the.
Oh, is that got to
calculator? It should be all right, mate. I'll work it out. I'll need to do the old 0.2.
I feel I'm being true to myself there.
That's it. Yeah.
It's fine. But that kind of. I get where you're coming from, but I'll come to Adrian next.
For me, it was much like the start of the album. So again, I mean, the first 3 tracks I gave an 8.5 out of 10. So if I'm going steady and consistent, I gave this one an 8.5 out of 10 as well. I liked the intro when you had that vital effect on the guitar that was, put down into the heavy strumming. Again, some more music terminologies for you, but yeah, I think that worked. Good as an intro. Backing vocals again stood out for me on this track, just generating that volume, generating those layers, as well as that the bass and drums follow each other as well, and stand out for me. There's a glockenspiel in it as well, so that's a good little touch that they've added from there. So a little bit of percussion.
Trust you to pick that out, man. Honestly,
backing vocals, drums, and percussion. That's me happy. So yeah, for me, as I said,
he's went with the carnival vibe again. That gives you that, doesn't it? That circus feel.
Definitely,
especially with the lyrics, fiendish wonders and the carnival's weight. So it's like, yeah, he's definitely either been like obsessed with circuses or he's been watching some like Dumbo or something like
that. Whatever TV show he's been watching.
He's been watching something, maybe taking something at the same time. That's a problem.
Melting into the couch watching Dumbo.
8.5 out of 10 for me, and again, looking at the whole album as a whole, that was sort of my steady score throughout it. So I've not actually gave an average of my score yet, so it'll be interesting to see. But I reckon it'll be, there or thereabouts, probably like 8.5 out of 10 mark. But good solid album. Like I can't really differentiate a lot of the songs, but they're still good, and they're still good tracks that you wouldn't really skip as such. So it was a good album to listen to for me this week. What about you, Andy? How was that last song?
I'm with Connor. I'm the exact same as Connor. I gave it a 6. I think it's a terrible end to the album. I think that for me, it doesn't leave you with a sense of I want something next. If that's where you want to end it. Do I want to hear the next thing that's coming? Maybe not. Do you know what I mean? Is this a staple for what's coming next? Not. We talk about this quite a lot. That there should be stronger, ends to the album. And for me, this lets the album down slightly. So 6 for me. 6.
Do you think that if they changed Jeweler's Hand to opening the album,
I think if they took Jeweler's Hand out the album, it wouldn't be missed.
Well, aye. And then put My Propeller down, or aye.
I don't even think putting My Propeller down. You end it in Pretty Visitors. You think, wow,
that's it, aye.
and what's coming next? Wow, that was amazing.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? What's coming next? You know, I think that an album should be that, and look, I'm not. Nobody's like, if I was an industry specialist or whatever, I wouldn't be sitting here. You know, I'd be sitting in my penthouse somewhere, smoking a fat cigar, and
LA.
drinking Cristal out a mug. You know,
Sandy's dream for tonight now. That's it.
Aye, that sounds all right. You know, but
I'll join you, man.
Aye, you can, aye, you're welcome. But I think that an album, you've got to end on a track where you want to hear more. You know, you can't wait to what's coming next.
Mhm.
And I don't think that track does this on this album.
Like,
You know,
That is a throwaway track, isn't it?
There was a time where like albums weren't really a thing. They were a thing, but they were just a collection of songs. I think they did try to make it like a kind of a piece of work from start to finish.
I get that. I mean,
But-
you know what it's like now. We can all pick our favourite songs and put
Mhm.
them into a playlist.
Aye.
You
Do
make
you
your
know
own
what
albums.
I get that, but I mean, I think I'm just looking back on, you know, I'm not that old. I'm in my 40s, but you know, I still remember being able to go down to our price and having to buy a CD to listen to, you know, a single that's come out or an album that I wanted.
No, don't remember that at all, Andy. No.
You know what I mean, though. And,
I'm just going that.
Aye, you go, Patton.
I've
You know-
never bought a CD.
Never bought a CD.
No.
What age are you now, Connor?
27 yesterday.
20,
So yesterday
27.
I
Oh,
seen
by
that.
the way, happy
Right.
birthday yesterday.
Yes.
It never even popped up my Facebook or nothing. You
I
hiding
keep-
that, man?
Vito.
Incognito, mate. Incognito. That's why I couldn't tag you neither. But the for me, it was a letdown to the end of the album. And the lowest scoring song on the album for us, especially with Lyle bringing the score down.
I think, see, if I was to listen
6.87.
if I was to listen to the song itself and talk about the song just separately, I would probably give it a higher score. But like, because I listened to this as an album from start to finish and I was rating it,
And that's the beauty about these, you know, that you don't always listen to an album. Do you know what I mean? So listening to an album from start to finish is something a bit different from what we would usually do. And obviously we've been doing more of that. And I've been enjoying it. Do you know what I mean? That listen to the albums and doing these things. But I need to wait till Lyle's back now because, you know,
actually the score.
we're gonna. I'll give you this. I can give you the score, but I would rather wait till he's back and we'll talk about it. And
7.39 was that the magic number?
hey, no. Well, Connor, you scored the album overall 8.2. All right, so 8.2 from you. Adrian, you scored it higher than what Connor did, even though it was him and Lyle's album. You scored it 8.35, which is
Also,
do you want to know something?
That's
And I want to look back, and I don't have the figures. Scott's got all the figures and that. He keeps spreadsheets and things like that. It's great. That I think that could be one of your high-scoring albums.
I'll be one of them. I'm trying to think other albums that I scored quite high. Obviously, Oasis, and probably the last. To be fair, when I look back at my the Arctic Monkeys album we did before, scored that quite high too. So I reckon it'll be up there definitely.
Lyle, your score for the album was 8.6 out of 10, which
Was
is high.
Was it higher than? All right, okay. What was
No,
it?
it's high. So Adrian was 8.35, which is bloody high for Adrian, trust me. And Connor was 8.2. So there's not much of a muchness. It's me brings it down. I gave it 7.45.
Joking.
Which even at that is still pretty good.
I like
Do you
good
know what I
that.
mean? It's still a pretty good score. So before we go on, Here we go.
Just to fight all the lies and your dreams and nightmares rolling through the brain. Well, you can't understand when they're trying to kill you. Can't understand when they're trying to kill you. Dancing around in a circle, only trying to explain.
So by the powers of technology, I've managed to get the final album score. So final album score for Arctic Monkeys Humbug is 8.12. Which is a high scoring album.
It's good.
You know, and this is why we have four opinions, because we could all be Arctic Monkeys fans and score it really high, and then it gets biased. You know, it's like Scott's a massive Oasis fan, so he's obviously going to score an Oasis, you know, album higher.
Apart from Heathen Chemistry.
Apart from Heathen Chemistry, which sits, I think, last in our album chat, which is funny. It was one of the first ever albums we've done as well. But Scott has worked it out, and I think it sits about 17th on a Pelikan chart. So it's up there. And if I kind of look back here,
top half.
I'm going to see if I can actually see what the kind of chart update. There we go. So you'd be sitting in between Exile, Main Street, Court and Spark, Together Alone, Villains, Queens of the Stone Age, Jagged Little Pill, Black Country 2. So Turnstiles. So it knocks Turnstiles out. Metropolis Part 2, which is
I'm surprised you scored it.
And then Miseducation of Lauren Hill. So it sits in not bad company. You know, and whatever people say, I Am's 13, Kind of Magic's 13. It's 13 as well, which is joint. Is This It? Strokes 12, Kick, Joshua Tree 10, Thrillers 9, Let It Be 8, Nirvana's Nevermind 7, and the Bends by Radiohead's number 6. Appetite for Destruction sits at number 5. What's the Story? More Than Glory sits at 4. The Doors by The Doors sits at number 3, and Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band sits at number 2. And top of the chart at the moment, still Revolver. It's going to take a lot to knock Revolver off.
He's done Rubber Soul yet?
What? No. I'd love to do
cool.
Rubber Soul. Well, you can come back on for Rubber Soul, mate, if we ever do it. You're more than welcome.
Someone will pick it.
So, but guys, how's it been tonight?
I've enjoyed that, man. Thanks very much for
some roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster from start to finish. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play a song. So I've got Something Strange by the Ranzas, obviously, but the acoustic session just be yourself and Connor. Great song as well. Again, but I'm going to usually I ask this, but I'm going to get Adrian to ask you, all right? And I don't know how you're going to do this, but you can give two separate if you want. But we ask every guest that's on the Tommy Clark question. So I don't know if you've ever been asked this before by the man himself. But Adrian,
interviewed by him probably, yeah.
I'll let you carry on and I'll give you this song to think about it. But Adrian, batter in.
So the La Club Royale are headlining a gig. You can choose any venue you like in the world. Yeah, I can see Connor stressing already. And you can choose 3 support acts, alive or dead, doesn't matter who they are. Okay, so any venue in the world and 3 support acts. Okay, so you're headlining it, and from there we can have one of you doing the Friday night and someone else doing the Saturday night. So you've got 2 shows from here. So you'll have 1 song to think about it from there. So any venue and 3 support acts, alive or dead.
I prepared for this one. I got it up here.
So this is Something Strange acoustic by the Ranzas.
Oh.
Down by the shore you sit and watch the sun go down. As it kisses the ocean, your fears are lost to never be found. She waves goodbye to the life she left behind. This is the untold story of the girl who touched the sky. We live in a world where we get so close but yet so far. You defeated all of the odds, now look at where you are. She waves goodbye to the life she left behind. This is the untold story of a girl who touched the sky. You can feel something strange happened here. You can feel something strange happened here. She waves goodbye to the life she left behind. This is the untold story of a girl who touched the sky. She waves goodbye to the life she left behind. It's the untold story of a girl who touched the sky. You can feel something strange happened here. 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 You can feel something strange happened here, happened here, happened here.
Brilliant, lads. Phenomenal. Is that like his acoustic session is going to be something that he's like going to be doing again soon, or?
See if we can work it in somehow.
Aye.
We'll just all do one together. We'll just all get together and we'll do separate ones.
Lyle's playing the bongos.
As long as I'm there, man, that's fine.
We can bring in Lyle as our bass.
I don't like him. Look like Lyle was still trying to work out his answers there. Like,
I know he's still right.
Solving a maths quiz or something. That's
I was
it.
Oh shit! The song's ended. I'm
doing a crossword, boys. I'm doing a crossword.
So
that's a hard question, that, to be fair.
It's a cracker. So let's go. Connor's gone out his head. Go for it, Connor.
We're playing the Barras on a Friday. Am I getting Friday night? I'll take Friday.
We played it separate.
Aye.
2 gigs you're running, huh?
We'll do 2 gigs. Aye. Headline both nights.
We've got a wee pal on Hallow Ground with Michael's opening for us, and then we'll go some Primal Scream.
Oh, nice.
And then we'll get some new order, and then it'll be us.
Oh, good gig.
Good gig. Like that. And I love how you've kept the old pals act there and brought in one of your pals. So no, I like that. That's not common at the moment. Everybody seems to go for the big bands.
The Barras seem quite a common answer for
the Barras.
To be honest, that's probably the most common one.
Aye. Lyle, what about yourself?
The Barras.
Obviously.
The Barras on the Saturday then.
At least you don't have to travel far the next day.
Yeah. I don't know which order this would be, but I would have Arctic Monkeys, New Order, and Beautiful South.
Oh,
I think that'd be quite cool.
Do you want to know something? That is like the strangest mix of music that I've ever probably heard as well, because like for me, Paul Heaton and the Beautiful South. Paul Heaton is an amazing vocalist
and songwriter.
And his songwriter, he's tremendous. And the Beautiful South, like amazing.
At least you've got New Order as the main supporter for both nights.
Aye.
New Order.
Can I get a wee poll off you? Can I get a wee poll off you too? What's your argument, Lyle? Paul Heaton or Morrissey? Who's the better songwriter?
Oh, shut up, man. How many times we got to argue about
Hold
this?
on. How about what I can settle this by saying, how about Morrissey writes a song for Paul Heaton? Because it would sound better. But if Paul Heaton wrote a song for Morrissey, do you know what I mean?
Right, okay.
I think as songwriters, both of them hold massive merit. Morrissey was a great songwriter. When it comes to his voice, I could take it or leave it sometimes. It depends on what he was singing. Paul Heaton, on the other hand, I think his voice has always been tremendous.
Caravan of Love.
And he's but then you've got to remember who his other member was in the band at that point. I mean, it was a guy that turned into an international superstar DJ, Fatboy Slim. So it's for me, Paul Heaton's voice, but he's a great songwriter. But Morrissey as a songwriter was phenomenal. But I could sometimes take or leave. He was a bit. It was like he was moaning all the time. Do you know about something? Where his songwriting, his songs were phenomenal. But it just, for me, it sounded like he was having a moan about something, or it was a gripe about something.
He's got something to sing about. You know what I mean?
No, it's true. That is true. But that's for me. Paul Heaton's voice is flawless.
So basically, Connor, he never answered the question directly.
Would you like that though?
He's still wiggled his way out of that.
You like that?
You could be a politician.
I could. I'm not bad.
Elections are only next week or something, or 2 weeks away.
Next
We'll
week.
get time.
So, sum it up, guys. How's it been? Has it been all right? Has it been?
No, I've enjoyed that, man. Thanks very much, eh?
No, it's been great having you on, and obviously we haven't seen each other in real life for a long time. Aye, so obviously.
Congratulations on the 42nd episode, by the way. That's
whoever thought it would last this long. In all fairness, what we have noticed though is in the later ones we have been getting a drop off at live viewers, but the thing we have got is more viewers during the week because it stays on. Do you know what I mean? So people are watching it back more, and it's great. I never thought that we would reach this amount, but the support and the guys like yourselves that come on it, we couldn't do it without yous, and it's good. There you go. Here's this is going to settle the argument. Paul Heaton and Jackie Abbott are different class. There you go. Joseph spoken.
That's very fair.
Joseph spoken.
He's spoken.
Every time we go on something like, we'll ask the question back to them because we need a definitive answer about this because it's been on for too long.
We have argued about this for since probably 3 years.
So here, so I'm going to ask you a quick question. When's the video coming for Rise Up?
It's
the fact that it's timing with lockdown. We had it all kind of planned out in our head. This will be the debut single. We'll get I think it was just before Christmas, just before this other lockdown happened. We had it all kind of right. We'll get a video done, and then lockdown happened again, and then we were like, just put it out. We're ready the track's ready. Just put it out. So the next kind of thing is to get obviously the masters back for the next track, and we're going to get a video done definitely for the next track. So we've got a very short amount of time to get that done, so we better get my finger at it.
Can we not get a video for Rise Up? No.
We could go back to it.
At some point,
aye, no. So I'm gonna finish the night, obviously, with La Club Royale or us. Was it LCR for short?
You can do
Is that the cool? Is that the cool? acronym. LCR.
LCR. It's quicker.
So we'll play out with Rise Up, but I would just like to say, guys, it's been a pleasure. Obviously, once this is all over, we're hoping that we'll get a Pelikan Podcast gig. So, guests that passing, present. I'll get the girl and do live songs. Like yous have been doing, just guitar and a vocal, or if we could record a full band and make it sound, tremendous without having like 40 million drum triggers and everything else.
A box of trash as well, man. That would be, we'd be ready for that.
But that's the same. If we can get that, we can get us all together and have like a podcast with a couple of live tunes in between. I think that it'd be brilliant. Really looking forward to it, and I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what's next for you guys as well. Because as I said, it's a journey I've followed for a long time. All the way from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I even remember Lyle when he was on about when the Miss Blowing games came out.
Sitting in the bench.
Aye.
There's not much more in a bit today.
I only played one game with them anyway, mate. I wouldn't worry about it. That was over 35's game.
Only played one game with them. I think I was there for about 5 years.
But no, it's been brilliant, guys, having you. And as I said, once this is all over, we'll all get back together and see go for a beer,
Aye.
But no, great, guys. Adrian, you get any final words for the night?
No, it's just been a good week listening to this album and that. And again, thanks for the boys for coming on, and hopefully we'll see you soon. Whether it's live as LCR or just in the pub or that, but hopefully, fingers crossed.
Aye.
Thanks for having us, guys.
So, no problem. So we'll play up with Rise Up by Club Royale.